stuff in the morning. It is exactly 9:07 today, so it's early. It is what? It's 9:07 here. It's 8 in Central Time. It's 7 Mountain Time, and it's 6 Pacific Time. So nothing's going on yet in the world. Well, only in if you work in Washington D.C. or New York in any capacity, or you've been up for a while, as well as I know. Anyway, want to talk a little bit about more of the fallout. It's being reported by Geeks and Gamers and others that now these legions of fake accounts on Twitter are attacking Rosario Dawson. I don't go for clickbait, but I know what's going on here. She's starring in another show that is going to be overseen by Dave Filoni. It is a character she's playing that was created during the Lucas era. It is something I think that sticks in her craw, that Ahsoka is a strong woman, female character that she didn't create. And I think Kennedy is desperately trying to destroy what they're doing because she knows they're going to take out, ultimately, the sequel trilogy. And as well they should. If you honestly think it was a success, you are intellectually dishonest, and I can't talk to you, okay? And I really fucking mean that in every way, shape, or form. I don't have time for people like that. I don't have time for people who aren't objective and can't think critically. It's like you guys all need to stand over there and just be in your own little bizarre little world, because, all right. So Doomcock, of course, we talked about this. Reported that Jon Favreau is very angry. I love about it is, as far as I'm concerned, if you're against what they've done to Star Wars, you're upset about what's going on in pop culture, whether you want to or not, you are part of the fandom menace. And it's time we all stopped trying to compete for our views. I mean, you can go from Doomcock to Midnight's Edge to The Quartering to Geeks and Gamers. You can belong to all of them. Okay, so if you're somebody talking about sites that, talk about rumors and all that and roll your eyes, I know you're talking about Doomcock. All right, he is right about 80% of the time. So maybe you should just sit down and ask your contacts why they're not right, like his are. All right, I'm sick of that shit. We're not in competition. There's a mission we have to complete. Okay, the mission is to take out Kathleen Kennedy, all right, and her regime at Lucasfilm. And that is our mission, and we should all join hands and, instead of sniping at each other, fucking A, get to it, okay? Fucking A, get to it, but let's talk more. So apparently Doomcock reported that Favreau was heard saying, "How dare she do that to me? How dare she go behind my back? La-di-da." Valiant Renegade, and I agree that Favreau is likely very pissed. The Bobs are probably very pissed. Here's the one thing, I talked about this before, but I'm going to reiterate this. There's a factor we didn't think of. Somebody very big who's the golden boy, the touchdown maker, the man of war of filmmaking right now at Disney, Kevin Feige, is doing a Star Wars movie. And if you go and look at the Star Wars channel here, they are getting raked over the coals. Every time they post something from the High Republic, it is mocked and ridiculed. You can find some positive comments, but the vast majority are like, this is a joke, this is hilarious, fire Kathleen Kennedy, the usual. Of course, the Oscars channel is full of them. And it is my opinion that if I was Kevin Feige, I saw this shit going down, I'd be like this. What the hell did she just do to me? Now, Kennedy, I would bet you, I bet you $1,000. Good morning, John 42. I would bet you $1,000 that when it was announced Feige was going in to make a Star Wars movie without her, Kennedy shat herself. She was pissed. Okay. All these white, straight men coming in to take away her, the queen's castle from her. But she's probably pissed. No, he's probably pissed. What about Taika Waititi? He's developing a movie. He's already writing a script, Star Wars script. Do you think anybody's going to want to see that? No. No. Kathleen Kennedy, by the virtue of being a self-centered, narcissistic, mentally ill woman, has basically done more damage to not just her end of Star Wars, because, I mean, it's... The High Republic is a joke. It's a fucking joke. Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Okay, let's not sit back and go, well, it's okay. No, it's not okay. It's a fucking joke. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. It's really funny to me that she does this. She undermines the Mandalorian, which was her point. And now, apparently, these bots, these fake accounts, are now attacking Rosario Dawson. Now, if you're from Disney and you're watching me right now, okay. All right, 11 a.m. Okay, good morning. If you're, or 9 a.m. I should say. If you're a Star Wars fan and you were paying attention during the early 2000s after Revenge of the Sith, Ahsoka Tano appeared. Ahsoka was developed and mostly by Dave Filoni, but during Morning Takari, but during the Lucas era. She's a organically created female character. She's strong and she does her own thing. And people love her. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't hate her. She's not one of those figures I'm going to go running around searching for my collection. To be honest, I'm waiting for my Asajj Ventress to show up. But she's popular. And I want you guys to sit back and think, why would Kennedy hate her so much? Well, first off, a white man created her. People of all races, sexes, creeds, whatever like her. She's not Kennedy's creation. She's not Super Ray, the bestest ever. And probably the person kind of doing I would say when that show comes out, it's going to be Jon Favreau, executive producer or producer. Okay, not writer necessarily, producer. That she's now trying to undermine Ahsoka. What I'm going to tell you guys this right now. What you're seeing is a vast knee-jerk, burn it all down reaction by Kennedy trying to save the sequel trilogy. If you honestly think that Doomcock people were lying, that Midnight's Edge's people were lying, that Walt Disney World Pro was lying, that Craig and John were lying, you can go screw yourself. Because remember what we were saying, when you look at the Ahsoka thing, that's the world between worlds. They know it's coming. They know they're going into an alternate reality. And Kennedy is losing her mind. They know the Bobs are sanctioning it. She thinks by using, this bullshit anti-trans crap that doesn't, I mean, whatever, is going to destroy Ahsoka, is going to destroy this Star Wars verse where they actually fix what was broken. Hail, Storyman Jack, and save their fucking sequel trilogy. Ain't gonna happen. Now, I want you guys, I'm gonna switch over to something else real quick. Then I'll go back to the attacks on Rosario Dawson that are now starting. If you go to IMDb and you go to the Mandalorian page, you're going to see the writing credits for George Lucas changing. In fact, let me try to do this. I'm going to do this right now while we talk. And we're going to go to IMDb. All right. I'm going to, this thing. I love my Apple computer, but it's one of those things where I've never really used one. And as much as I love it, I don't understand it. I really don't. Just a second, I gotta come back. It's just one of those things that it's really kind of different. My nose. And I am coming down with the cold, so if I sound weird, whatever. Anyway, let's go to IMDb. All right, come on. What are you doing to me? IMDb. Internet Movie Database. That's what that means. Let's go to Mandalorian. And I want to show you what's going on. Because, interestingly enough, George Lucas is all over the place on this. Episodes, season 3, 2, 1. Let's go, cast. Let's go. Where is the... No. I want the writers. I want cast and crew. Okay, what the hell? Anyway, you're gonna go here and you're gonna see some really different stuff here. It's going to really it's very they've done something different with George. They've taken away a lot of what's going on here. He goes from being a writer to character writer, whatever. It's really interesting. It's just I don't understand why on the webpage it doesn't have that. But if I can find it while I talk to you guys, I will. Anyway, the guys from Echo Base did a thing about this and talked about this stupid thing. You know what? All right, George Lucas. We'll go to George's. All right, actor. What the fuck? Sorry. This is just really, I don't understand. Ahsoka. Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson. Okay, we'll go here. Cast and crew. Series cast summary. See full cast. Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas is written on here as one of the writers. Now, if you go, this is all changing, okay? I'm going to try to find The Mandalorian one more time. Because he was listed as a writer for Mandalorian for the longest time, and now he's not. Now, how did this stuff happen? How did this How are we talking about this? Why are we talking about this? Because a couple of newscasts came out on web pages, and they were basically saying he's back. Now I'm going to tell you something. Here's what it looks like. Here's what the Mandalorian thing looks like. Okay. See what it says? George is listed as a writer, and he's listed as a writer for Ahsoka. He's listed, I think he's the only writer listed for the Book of Boba Fett. Let's find that out. Now, these websites, whom I can't remember what they are, said that he's back. I don't know. And they're using this stuff that's going on with his webpage on his IMDb as proof. I have heard rumors, we all have, that he's back. We don't know. But cast and crew, full cast. Let's go here. Series produced by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, and Robert Rodriguez. Writing credits. All right, they did it again. They did it again. See? So what's going on? Is he back? Well, I've heard rumors that he's been back. I don't know what this means. I'm not going to sit here and say that this proves he's not. That's opinion. That's based on, you could take this evidence and make it, jump through hoops if you want. There's nothing here that says he's back. There's nothing here that says he isn't. Okay, IMDb, if you go to his page, it looks like what's going on, as far as I can tell, is that he's basically putting he's controlling what's being put out there. Okay, it's coming from him, not anybody else. Okay, so I don't know what this all means. We do know that somebody within that's connected to Star Wars, a name we all would know, this is from Walt Disney World Pro at Pirates and Princesses, they said that somebody who's very, very well connected to Star Wars, a name we would all know, said you either clean up Lucasfilm or I am walking away forever. And now we've got the attacks on Rosario Dawson. But I'm going to say this. Yesterday, I thought this was merely an attack. I know that. That's not the point, Storyman Jack. The point was, a few weeks ago, he was literally listed as one of the writers for The Mandalorian. And now it's changed to characters. But what's really weird is he's listed for all three seasons as creating characters for that. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. Does anybody remember any characters that he created showing up in Mando season 1? No. I didn't see any of them. But in season 2, he was part and parcel of the creation of Ahsoka. And of course, we had the triumphant return of Skywalker. So, what do we got going on here? Okay, think about it. Was he the person saying fix Lucasfilm or I'm gone? And this is him cleaning everything up because he doesn't want to be part of this? Or is something else going on? You could look at this either way. I'm trying to fit the information that we know of to try to figure out what's going on, because there's something definitely going on. There's something big going on. Disney can't afford Kathleen Kennedy's shenanigans anymore. Again, remember, Doomcock had someone who overheard Jon Favreau himself saying, how dare she do this to me behind my back? To somebody. Was he talking to Iger? Was he talking to Bob Chapek? Was he talking to Lin-Wen Brennan? Because you guys got to remember, it went over Favreau's head, but Favreau doesn't answer to Kennedy. Okay? He answers to Iger and Chapek. Okay? She deigned not to tell John that she was firing his best and most popular actress. All right. Why wouldn't he be pissed? Okay. The fact that he couldn't protect her, he probably had protected her. All right. I'm gonna give you a hypothetical. Last summer or last spring, Kennedy strolls into the office like she fucking owns Disney, runs it, because she's a stupid cunt. And she sits down with the Bobs after she went behind their backs and got Leslie Headland. And they say, you never do that without consulting us again. And they warn her, don't ever do that again. I hope so too, Storyman Jack. I really do. So she leaves. And, she's seething with envy and anger and all the rest of that stuff, right? Towards Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and indirectly at George Lucas, because I know he was, and he probably still is heavily involved in developing these shows. Anyway, and you can see his fingerprints all over The Mandalorian. I don't give a flying fuck what anybody says. Baby Grogu just didn't appear in Jon Favreau's head. Grogu, the first conception was George Lucas himself. He was the one that said, that's a good idea, run with it. This is what I think you should do. Okay. It just screamed somebody who understood what the fans wanted to see. And how surprise, the idea of surprise. Okay. Somebody who really knows filmmaking. All right. So Kennedy goes back. We got Gina Carano asking questions, doing her thing, being her own woman on Twitter and Instagram, and just doing her own thing and being very popular. Far more popular. I bet you if Hasbro, I wish Hasbro should put out the figures of how many Rey figures they've sold compared to what they sold with Cara Dune. All right. So they lie in wait. Kennedy's looking for any way to get at Favreau and Filoni. And Gina, being Gina, an independent-minded woman, starts asking questions, and she won't put pronouns in her fucking bio. Now, you gotta remember the people that Kennedy surrounds herself with. You know that picture of no men at all, just a bunch of fucking bitches? I'd like to drop several rabid skunks in the middle of them. It just dawns on her, we can go after Gina for being anti-trans and a racist and a bigot. Now, I'm going to bring up Ichibaka here because Ichibaka did, I think, prove that our old friend, Jason Ward, is connected to Kathleen Kennedy herself. There is a Twitter account, Kathy M. Kennedy. It doesn't have a blue check mark. And it was used last time, I think, back in 2015. But she's talking to someone who's not part of any of this in the film industry. That person was being followed and following Jason Ward. And what's more is Frank Marshall was following the Kathy M. Kennedy account. After all this stuff blew up, the last couple of years, he quit following it. But still, I believe strongly that this was all orchestrated at Gina. They've even said this on other things. I mean, Anna, that Star Wars girl, talked about it. This was all orchestrated through bot accounts and everything else to force, to fire Gina. Okay, and they think they act like they're victorious, but really, they're not, because trending on Twitter, if you're a bunch of bots, that's fake, right? That's fake. If I have 10,000 bot accounts and I press fire Kathleen Kennedy, that'll be trending on Twitter. Is that real? No, it's not. It's not. So you got to take everything that goes on Twitter with a grain of salt. But the 4 or 5, hey Dave, the 4 or 5 people who are whining about Gina are now whining, the same accounts are now whining at Rosario Dawson. This is an orchestrated effort by somebody inside Lucasfilm and outside Lucasfilm to destroy Jon Favreau's chances of fixing what was broken. Okay, if you remember, Jason Ward was interviewed by the Deseret News, basically saying that they're not going to redo, they're not going to reboot or get rid of the sequel trilogy. See what I'm saying? Is I'm saying I'm going to say this outright. If he is not part of this, if somebody like that is not part of this, and it would not surprise me that a company like Lucasfilm at this point in time wouldn't hire someone like that to pull this shit. Okay? You got to look at it in a very Machiavellian way. But they're getting pounded. They're getting their asses kicked. Okay. Now they're going after Rosario because they're trying to undermine Ahsoka. They're trying to undermine Favreau again. They're basically, this is an attack on Jon Favreau. A full-scale attack on Jon Favreau. And if you're from Disney and you're here watching me for the Bobs, please tell them. Good morning, Cinedave. Please tell them to investigate making Star Wars. That is Jason Ward. This guy, and I blame him for this, I'm calling him out. This guy has been caught several times throughout the years, attacking fans who didn't like what they were doing, bullying fans off of theforce.net. He was famous there. I wish it was. Thank you. Oh, the UK. Hey, yo. Yo, my brother. It's obvious to me what's going on. There has to be an investigation. If I had the money, I would hire an internet investigator to go and do this for me, for us. I would have that person go through everything on Twitter, befriend Jason Ward, go through all of it, find out who is behind that Kathy M. Kennedy thing. If that person is still, if they're still following Ward or not, go through it all. I would hire an investigator to investigate her, by the way. But something has to be done because this is killing people's investments. Okay, there's something criminal about this. All right, we got rid of our Disney stock, to be honest. Wasn't that hard, just an email saying do it, and it was done. I mean, we're not hurting, by the way. Okay, we're not hurting at all by getting rid of it. I don't want it anymore. I don't want it at all. And this is Machiavellian. This is really Roman politics, almost. Hey, Revan. And Disney stock is close to $194 a share, and it's paying 2 cents for that. Probably less. Okay. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It is inflated. It's probably worth less than $50 a share right now. No, I didn't, and I should have. I'm not really, we don't do that stuff. We've got a really good guy running our thing, and we're, you know, he knows when to hold him and know when to fold him, if you know what I mean. And you know, we're weathering any storms that come up. You know, but I'm this is exactly what's happening. You know, it really is what's happening is there's someone orchestrating these attacks, and they're attacks not at Rosario Dawson. She's just a hill to be won. You know what I'm saying? A battle to be won, a target, but she's not the focus. Jon Favreau's the focus. Okay. Getting rid of the sequel trilogy is the focus. They're terrified of that. They can't stand that. The only way to stop them is to get rid of Kennedy. I mean, I totally agree with Valiant Renegade. If you worked in any sort of professional environment, she's a cancer. I mean, Pablo Hidalgo is a cancer on Star Wars. They've got to go. I mean, these people are ruining any sort of goodwill that, and intentionally so, by the way, that Jon Favreau has built. And it's time for them, and I'm going to pound this until it happens. But this whole stuff going on with Lucas's IMDb thing is very interesting and very mystifying to me, because I don't think it necessarily says he's taking over again. I also don't necessarily think it says he's not. Yeah, but have they? I mean, you know, I go, I really don't. Here's the deal. I think, and I'll go back to what I was talking about before. So Kennedy goes back, gets her hand slapped for going behind the Bob's backs with Headland. Realizes that Carano could be a target. Carano isn't like her. You know, like Kennedy being a mean girl going, you can't sit here with us. And going Harry High School. And so Gina doesn't bow the knee when she decides not to put pronouns in her bio. So they try to force her to do 40, you have her face 40 members of Lucasfilm, not Disney, Lucasfilm. Because she never said Disney separate from Lucasfilm. She said Disney, Lucasfilm. And then she never mentioned Disney again in the statement. In her interview. They wanted, I can't believe there'd be 40 transsexual people at Lucasfilm. Now maybe there are, but it's such a small group of people that I just find it very rare, very, you know, and the one that I know is sick and tired of this shit. I mean, she's like, leave me out of this. I don't care about your fucking pronouns in your bio. You know, just treat me like a normal human being. That's it. But they wanted to bully. I mean, it was like a gangbang. It was going to be a gangbang. 40 people in a Zoom call and Gina. She said no. She said she wanted to take a few people out to dinner, talk to them, and then they'd figure it out and everybody be happy. But no, they don't want to do that. So Gina starts being obstinate. Kennedy sees her opportunity. Gets more and more hairy. Then you see Jason Ward and his little minions fire Gina Carano, trending on Twitter. Everybody reading about it. And then what happened. And now they're going after Rosario Dawson for, I have no idea. I think it has something, again, to do with something she said, I think, a long time ago that has absolutely nothing to do with now. I mean, We are talking about Cory Booker's girlfriend or ex-girlfriend or whatever she is. Mr. Democrat Party nominee for president. All right, but hey, you know, you're not my kind of leftist. Whatever the fuck that means. Okay, now, again, I'm not a huge fan, but no one should be subject to this shit. No one. I don't want Pablo or Pedro Pascal to be fired. Pablo Hidalgo, yes, but what he's done is vastly different. He has attacked fans personally. I have seen him attack people directly. Okay? He has said some really shitty things about the fan base and about a lot of things. And he's attacked Disney. Yep. Yeah, she's his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend. I mean, so I look at those as two different cases. All right, Pedro, shut up. Pablo, you've basically helped destroy the fan base. I know you're happy with it, but we're not. That's money out of it. I mean, billions of dollars walking out the door, never to be seen again. Okay? You're fired. Out. Okay. Now, what can the Bobs do? We all know that Kathy's got a contract. We all know that she's probably hanging I am wham in here, being roar or squeak like a mouse or shriek like, the Wicked Witch of the West melting underwater. And she'll use that shit. Who cares anymore? Who cares? Here's the deal. The fans won't care. And I'll tell you something else. From what I've heard, from what the people in Hollywood that I talk to, she's worn out her welcome. All right. When you're a friend of Steven Spielberg and he walks away, that's big time shit right there. That is big time shit. And that's exactly what happened. What do they do? Well, they bring her into the office again and say, Kathy, it's time to resign. Oh, I don't either, Cine Dave. I mean, you remember Craig back in the days when he would stream, and we'd all be on there. And he said some interesting things about some stuff that he knew. Stuff that he actually showed his own lawyer. That it's pretty obvious that she's been in violation of her contract since before TLJ. And that she could have been let go anytime. Why Iger is taking the responsibility for what's gone on with Star Wars, that's a man's thing. He actually did something a man would do. But as a woman who has worked in the real world, done jobs, as a kid, you're hired, you're fired, you screw up. You've seen office politics. You don't let people like that run around the office. She's upper management, but who fucking cares? Everybody, they're not going to say it out loud, but here's the thing I don't understand about Hollywood. Who gives a fuck if she's a woman or not? Anybody out there, you and me, we're not inside the business, who believes, if you don't believe the casting couch is dead, it's not dead, it's still alive. Ivor Kennedy has her own casting couch, by the way. Anybody who believes that in Hollywood, believes that we care about that, we don't. The casting couch has been alive and well since Clara Bow and Louise Brooks, and you name it, we're running around in the teens and 20s, okay? And it's never going away. Okay, that's just what Actresses want roles, they'll do anything for a role. And casting directors and producers know that. Actors want a role, they'll do anything for a role. And now male actors are different. Guys have more dignity and more pride in themselves. And, you know, I mean, that actually comes down to the guy. For women, you get J Law, Jennifer Law, J Law, and the rest of these bitches, and they fucked Harvey Weinstein. They did. So the idea that somehow they're now outraged, it's like in Kathleen Kennedy. Shut up. Just shut up. Threatening. Who are you threatening right now? Bob Iger? No one cares. No one cares. I mean, so my attitude is quit it. Just quit it. I look at Hollywood and say, you all know she's a failure. You're all talking about it. So if she gets fired, what are you guys going to do? Cancel Bob Iger and Bob Chapek? Because they're trying to save Lucasfilm and Disney? That's their job. All right? I would think a woman in the business would know that. I would think a woman in the business, seeing what's going on at Lucasfilm, would be like, get rid of her. Get her out of there. I'll go in. I'll do it. Why does she get to run free because she's a fucking woman? All right, I'm a woman. I would not expect to be allowed to behave that way and keep my job. Okay? All right. So why, guys, why is she allowed? Why? I mean, and that's the question. And now we've got, rumors about Favreau being upset, and I agree with those. We've got rumors that somebody who's major league attached to Star Wars saying that if you don't clean up Lucasfilm, I'm never coming. I'm leaving. I'm leaving. I'm done. And again, my money's still on Jon Favreau, to be honest. But the stuff going on with Lucas's IMDb page might be an indication it's him. Okay? And here's the deal, and if the Bobs can't convince her to leave, where's Frank Marshall? I've said this before. What kind of husband allows his wife to run around doing shit like this to other people? I mean, it's like, how cucked is he? I mean, I'm like, so this is bad for business. This is just, and, we're, so now we gotta wait for Rosario Dawson to get fired. Or will that happen? Now, she at least has a stand as she is a minority. She's a woman of color. And she's not to the right. I mean, you wouldn't date Cory Booker if you were me and a black woman. I'd be like, but I'm like Candace Owens. I mean, I'm like, you gotta start taking responsibility for yourselves, my guys. But then now they're going after her. And the only reason is this. They're trying to destroy everything that Filoni and Favreau are doing. Because they want them out. Because they're terrified. I mean, Jason Ward said it. The sequel trilogy is not going anywhere. It's going to be canon forever. It won't be. He doesn't have any right to say that. I mean, who the hell does he think he is? I mean, first off, the next person to come in as leader of Lucasfilm, be they a CFO, the president, whatever, can do whatever they want. They can keep it or not. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy has done nothing to earn her successor's loyalty on that. And that's the bottom line. You know, I'm gonna grab a soda in just a second. I'll be back. You know, it's one of those things where, ooh, it's wild cherry. So here you go. It's one of those things where he was sent out to say something like that by somebody. And they went to, all right, I'm going to tell you something. Brian Young lives in Salt Lake City. Deseret News is Salt Lake City. Now do you see the connection? Kennedy says, I want this done. She tells her enforcer, he's like, Tommy Karate or Roy DeMeo. That's Jason Ward. And what happened to both of those guys? You know, goes to an associate, Brian Young. Brian Young sets up an interview with Deseret News. There you go. How close am I to this? I'm probably very close. Again, my little political mind is starting to work. And I don't like what I'm seeing. I don't like any of this at all. For the simple reason is this. It's going to get worse before it gets better. We're going to see other people pounded, other people dragged in, people who don't have any control or don't have any connection at all dragged in. The fans again are going to get dragged through the mud. I've said this before. The day it's rumored and it comes out from not just Grace Randolph, who's kept her mouth shut, very interestingly enough, through all this. She's kept her mouth shut about Gina Carano. So a grand said she knows a lot more than any of us, and she's not telling anybody. It's not going to be from her, but it's going to be from somebody like Fox News. It'll be from somebody of that ilk. It'll be a access media site that is not Inverse or some other shit. And it'll be out there that an announcement is forthcoming from Disney about the state of Lucasfilm, etc., etc. And we'll all know it's about Kennedy. We'll all know that it's about her. What happens? Get ready, geeks and gamers. Midnight's Edge, Doomcock, Itchy, me. All right? Valiant Renegade, Echo Base, all you guys, everybody. Anna, Jesse, Mecca, all you girls, to get dragged through the mud. Because the moment it's announced that she's resigning, and I agree with Cameron Pasha on this, Disney cannot afford the shit anymore. Yeah, TMZ too. TMZ will be the first ones to put out the rumor. And then it'll be out there. And then the announcement will come out. It'll be a press release. It won't be quiet. They can't keep this quiet. They're going to have to be solid and transparent with this. It'll be she's leaving because of wants to spend more time with her family. She's looking at other areas to do, la-di-da. She'll still stay on. Indiana Jones as a producer. That's it. Okay, because again, Bob's, Disney. Do you really need her to be president of Lucasfilm for Indiana Jones? Do ya? Okay, because I don't think you do. I really, really don't think you do. I don't think, and it's really interesting to me is it's being produced under Lucasfilm, but the only producers I've seen really, I have to go back and look. Because I looked a long time ago on IMDb and I saw Frank Marshall's name, but not hers. All right, which is really interesting. So, yeah, and we're all going to get dragged through the mud. We will be blamed. All right, we will be blamed by the Bot Brigade. At this point, here's the deal. Let's bring up China in all this. They're not, Star Wars has never really done, no they don't, Storyman Jack. They don't need her for Indiana Jones. In fact, Harrison Ford, from what I've read, is the one overseeing the script now. And I'm sure George is looking at it too. Just a second. Wasn't going to talk about it. She knows a lot. Grace Randolph knows a lot. If she mentioned Gina and then said she wasn't going to talk about it, she knows a lot. So let's talk about China. I can't remember if TFA did well in China, but I think it did. But TLJ bombed. It only made like $20 million. Tross was a disaster. Solo was a disaster. I don't think Rogue One did very well either. So why is that a factor? China, why is that a factor? It shouldn't be a factor. In fact, that should be a factor getting rid of her. I lived well, we all did because I'm a member. Oh, okay. Hey, Dan Watanabe's in the house. So just say hi to Sensei. I'll be right back. I'm a member of Daily Wire. So that's giving Ben Shapiro money. All right. So who cares if Gina's rich? I mean, who gives a shit? Just because she has money. I mean, this content of money is a trick of the rich to keep the poor from having any. The Godfather. And that's right. That's true. Anyway. Star Wars hasn't done well under Kennedy in China. Living in an Asian country like Korea, South Korea, I spent 2 years there, was eye-opening. Let's talk about the Korean wedding I went to. One of our guys, our majors, got married to a lovely Korean girl. They went and had a traditional Korean wedding. It was very, very interesting. There's one part of it where they go to honor the parents. And they kneel down in front of them. It is a very patriarchal society. Now, yes, Iraq has had women, female presidents, prime ministers. But still, it's a very patriarchal country. Like, when we would all get together, it wouldn't be a mixed group. I think it was about, I think it was a little more like 50K an episode. So what she was in she didn't really make that much money. She didn't really make that much money at all. But let's go back to what I was talking about. The patriarchal ideas and traditions of Asia are all over Asia, not just the Korean Peninsula and not just Japan. It's China too. And the Chinese are notoriously racist against black people. Okay. And, there's a video I've seen somewhere of a Chinese shop owner beating one of his Nigerian workers. It was like, your name might as well be Earl. You should be in South Carolina rice plantation. All right, because that's what it looked like to me. It was horrible, fucking horrible. This is the problem Kennedy had. women like her look down, leftists like them, white leftists look down at so-called minorities like the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese, Filipinos, anybody like that, as needing their help, as being children. Okay, they look at black men, black women in that way. And they allow, Kennedy allows black women like Justina Ireland and Christina Ariel and colored men like Daniel Jose Older to lash out like children. And it's, yeah, and they should catch hell for that. It's very, very, very interesting to see that it hasn't dawned on Bob Iger or Bob Chapek that you can't put a movie that is female-centric in China and expect it to do well. It's not. Mulan did, but Mulan was also red Chinese propaganda produced by a United States company. Think about that one. You know, but Mulan was also a Chinese story. You take Rey, you take Holdo, you take Leia Organa Solo, Hillary Clinton, and you throw them up there and the people don't want it. Oh, I know. I mean, Korea, when we were in Korea, my husband point blank told me, do not take any gifts from these people. Do not, if it's over $20, you can't take it. La, la, la. And I was very careful of it. Very. And the reason simply is this. They take advantage of people with, I mean, there was money. I mean, oh my God. I would hear stories all the time when we lived in Hawaii of guys that were stationed in Korea getting money for influence and all the rest of the stuff. I mean, that's in Korea, that was fine. They have a hard time, the Asian countries have a hard time understanding, at least the Koreans did, that Americans don't operate that way. And the Chinese just look at it as a way to fuck with us. And the Japanese, it's their business. It's the way they do business. All right. And I like the Japanese. I do. I like them. My bitch is only with China. It really is. And we have to, Disney has to examine what its relationship is. Is the yuan really that important to them? And in the whole scheme of things, is the connection to Uyghur concentration camps that important? When you diminish John Boyega, who's a Nigerian immigrant to Britain, just because the Chinese are racists, I mean, that could be the Jesse Owens moment, if you think about it. You know, what was the United States supposed to do back in the 1936 Olympics? Diminish Jesse Owens, not let him race because Hitler is a racist? We didn't do shit like that. Oh, yeah, I mean, hubby was stationed in Okinawa, and of course, you know, John understands that the Marines go and have exercises on oh God, on the Japanese mainland. So it's, you know, it's a very interesting place, and I didn't get to spend hardly as much time as I wanted in Japan. I really wanted to too. I have a hankering to actually try their real Kobe beef. Just me. But what is the tipping point here? What's going to be, we can't do this any longer. I'll be perfectly honest. There are lots of things that happen in the Islamic world I disagree with, but I'm knowledgeable enough to know and have enough critical thinking to know that it doesn't happen everywhere. Like, I can't stand the Taliban. I can't stand the Iranian regime. If you ever want to see a movie that absolutely just excoriates them, see The Stoning of Shoraya M. It is Jim Caviezel, written and directed by Cyrus Nowastra, who is a Persian American, and it's devastating. It is absolutely devastating. I have way too many Persian friends whose families left Iran when the Shah left because they would have all been massacred. You can't treat people like that anymore. But we're an advanced culture. We're devolving now because of the SJWs, but we're an advanced culture. I mean, where are the women? Where's Kathleen Kennedy standing up for the women, for the Uyghur women who are being raped by the Japanese military? You see my problem here. These are my problems, and is keeping her there when she's so unsuccessful in selling female-centric Star Wars to the hilariously laughable biggest cinema box office, China. The Chinese daily rip off Hollywood. Okay? Daily. And it's time to just say, we're not going to make a movie. We're not going to make movies with you people anymore. I'd rather see the Russian mob involved, to be honest. At least you know who they were. I mean, and that's the fact. But Disney has to figure out who they want to be when they grow up, and that's bottom line. Do they want to be Disney, or do they want to be something else? Because right now they're something else. They have to figure out what they're going to do with Lucasfilm, because go anywhere on the net that has anything to do with the Oscars, Disney, the Disney company, Disney Plus, Disney Parks, whatever, Star Wars, any of the Star Wars official pages, they're getting pounded by the fans about Kennedy and about Gina. Okay? And now these bots, these fake accounts, are going after Rosario Dawson for something that happened years ago. And this is all just, and if you honestly think it's just Rosario is the target and Gina was a target, no, you're an idiot. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are the targets. All right? That's what I think is going on, is Kennedy is trying to force Favreau to walk away. Her problem is this: Kevin Feige. And again, we all know who carries the weight in that little argument. Feige. Marvel might be going woke, but Marvel's also made money. And Lucasfilm has been nothing but a disaster. Okay. If people are pissed off enough, they're going everywhere and crushing her everywhere they can. Why would they want to see Kevin Feige's movie? Why do you guys think about that? Yeah, they do. And with Jon Favreau, they are returning to basics. Can Disney afford to keep Kennedy on until October? He's not. Filoni is not her lackey, okay? Just, don't ever say that to me again. I'm really getting sick and tired of that. He was raised in Star Wars under George Lucas, not her, okay? He's probably the only guy at Lucasfilm right now who understands what's going on. And I don't, to be honest, if he was one of her lackeys, he wouldn't be working with Favreau, okay? He doesn't say anything political. In fact, I've never seen him say anything political at all. If you go onto Jon Favreau's Twitter account, he hasn't said anything on Twitter in years. And to Sci-Fi for you or whatever that channel is, there are two Jon Favreaus, and one is political. One is a left-wing nutbag, and it would probably behoove you to separate the both of them before you start trashing John, the film guy. Then, I agree with that one. I agree with that, Planet Musk. John, the film guy, excoriating him for something he didn't say. I mean, you can even tell they're different by the way they spell their names. Jon, John. Of course he is. I mean, that's not even worth even saying. I mean, from what Doomcock said, after Gina trashed him to his face and humiliated him and scared the shit out of him, Pablo ran to Kennedy. Oh, I'm not. He's going to say what he has to keep his job. All right? I mean, Gina said there are people there that are still at Lucasfilm that are very afraid. Okay, remember that. He might be one of them. Okay? All right, think about it. And she's not spreading rumors. She's the one that saw it firsthand. Okay? So she's what I would call a primary source in this. Okay? But, anyway, it's to me, all roads lead to Kennedy. These are coordinated efforts, not to, Rosario Dawson is just a notch in the belt to get to Favreau and Filoni. Because remember again, Ahsoka is Filoni's baby. But she was born under George Lucas. George Lucas helped develop that character. So she's nothing to do with Kennedy. And Rosario and her problems, whatever they are, with trans people, it happened a long time ago, but they're going to use it against her. Now, here's one for you. Daisy said there were only two genders in a speech. Where's Kennedy's minions? Why isn't she getting excoriated? The world wonders. These are just things that we should be thinking about. What do I think is going to happen? I think, in my gut, that something major is going to be announced within the next week or two, maybe in the next few days. This is not going away. And Kennedy's minions out there attacking Rosario Dawson are making it worse for her. And I think it's just time for her to go. To be honest, it's ultimately, they got to take her aside and say, you need to go away now. All right, anyway. But go and check Lucas's IMDb page, the Mandalorian page, because he's listed twice. There's a lot of double listings on that writer's thing. And I don't know what it means. I don't necessarily think it means anything. I don't necessarily think it doesn't mean anything. I've heard too many people from too many different sources saying that he was back in some sort of capacity. And it's out there now in a news source. And when I find it, we'll go through that news source. Anyway, all right. I gotta go. My voice is going and I'm getting a little bit of a cold, as you could tell. So I'm gonna just kind of hunker down here for a little bit and then do some research on the Lucas thing a little more. And maybe I'll be back later. So you guys have a good morning, and I'll see you around the galaxy. Remember to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and tip the Wookiee bartenders 20%. You're welcome, Dan. You're welcome. And I'll see you around the galaxy. See you around later.